Well, we've conquered the barrage that is Dragon Ball heroes in some shape or form for the moment, but is the main hero about to have a mini-hero join the party? Hey folks, MasakoX here. This story was made off of the back of my biggest pet peeve with Dragon Ball Super. No, it's not the whole tingly back thing. No, it's not the animation, which was subpar, at least for the first bit, but it was this. Trunks got the worst send-off for any popular character that I've seen in recent memory. Seriously, after all of the mystique and charm that he's had for decades since we first saw him in the post-Frieza saga, this guy got the least deserving send-off for any person in Dragon Ball ever. Nowadays, you can find him begging to stop people in video games as the most accessible being to be said mascot for franchises like Heroes or Xenoverse, where he bungles a lot, or even Dokkan Battle. Yeah, it involves multiple universes and the like, so yeah, sure, just stick Trunks in it. He does stuff with time and multiple universes. Go down the pub, job done. What has he come to? At least his voice isn't like present Trunks, even though in the Japanese version they're voiced by the same guy. Anyway, the point is this. I could not bear for him to have that sort of a sayonara, and so today, I wish to continue the notion that instead of just accepting their fate from Whis and going off to a future they didn't necessarily want or would be compatible with, they get to choose what to do, and they choose to stay in the past. What if they did? And I'm sure that Munchkin Kitty Hams is blowing up with excitement somewhere out there on the internet. They're quite possibly one of the biggest Trunks x Mai fans I've ever seen. So here, when given the choice, Trunks took action and chose to stay in the past, where he was the most familiar, instead of going to the alternative reality, which we suggested, which there was already a Trunks and Mai in, and for them to just deal with it. Yeah, Whis, you may be hot in terms of power and mystery, as well as taste in food, but when it comes to social skills and the like, he's not hot. Just because Trunks decided to settle here, of all places, does not necessarily mean that his existence will be a simple one. Here, he will have to answer to many forces out there that he wasn't aware of for all the things that he's done temporally over the years. As you may already know if you've been watching the series up to this point, he's had a brush-in with the temporal law. This what if is unique, in that we are bringing in the video game universe to add some context and substance to Trunks' story, which is different from the norm. Also, it is actually the most logical way to fuse the anime and game spheres into one unit, which is the most cohesive, and I really think it is possibly inevitable. In the last part, we went full ham into the Dragon Ball Heroes narrative, one of the earlier ones, and chose for Trunks to join the Time Patrollers for the first time, and for him to have his first mission with said people. In it, he basically fought Toa and Mira, as well as Bardock, otherwise known as the Masked Saiyan. Who could that possibly be? He had also, however, gained potentially something even more amazing. And I'll leave it for the story itself to explain, but needless to say, the comments of the last part were very lively on that front. It made me happy to see you all freaking out about it. Trunks is left utterly floored after all of the things that he had seen lately, what with Demigra, the Dark Demon Realm, as well as becoming basically a deity amongst Saiyans and actually looking good with red hair, he was now going to become a father of his own. Trunks was shaking with nerves. Are you sure? Is this true, Mai? She nodded sheepishly and placed a hand on her stomach to reaffirm what she had basically just said. I was going to tell you after the tournament was over, but this whole time travel thing, it kind of forced my hand. I'm gonna be a dad. She was smiling though, despite her quiet tone. She was sort of apprehensive, not sure how Trunks would react. Her partner's face though turned from fear into relief and then into joy. And seeing joy on Trunks is a very rare sight. This had been actually the best thing he had heard since they'd gotten to the past and had to flee the future. Despite said future being lost now, Trunks thought a part of it would live on, just for a little bit longer, in the form of a child. They embraced one another before Trunks flinched and apologized for, maybe being so vigorous with someone in that condition. But Mai jokingly bopped him on the head. Don't be silly. This lass is plenty strong enough for what you can throw at me. After all, Black never finished me off, right? Trunks nodded. That is true, and was reminded that Mai indeed was no slouch or weakling. She'd be fine. Does anyone else know? he asked her. She mentioned that only Bulma knew, and she had done everything in her power to not tell another living soul, anyone else, for days. But most importantly, Vegeta didn't know. Good. He's been through a lot since Bulma was born, and this I fear would be too much for him to handle. If I'm honest, he'd be a nervous wreck if he knew. They both laugh at the thought of Vegeta maybe flailing about with nappies and formula, having a grandchild as well. But once again, they hug it out. Their secret is fortunately kept throughout the whole preparation. Thankfully, Vegeta was willing to train more with his son, as well as perfecting his Redhead Saiyan powers with plenty of time in the Room of Spirit and Time, all the whilst Goku, Gohan and Buu were off in the exhibition match. However, Trunks almost let slip the notion Vegeta would be a grandfather on a few occasions, with him being asked advice about what it's like being a father to present-day Trunks and now Bulma. The prince was very confused about why future Trunks would be asking something like that right now, but the thought would pass because training, and it would continue. Now, does Trunks gain the power of Super Saiyan Blue here? Not quite. Vegeta felt that it wouldn't be wise since the time they had was limited, and for him to go in with a mediocre showing of Blue and it not working properly, or even it being more of a hindrance, it'd be detrimental to the Universe 7 cause. So therefore, Trunks instead would refine the powers he already has of Super Saiyan God, and could now easily transform into it whenever he needed to. It was better to hone that, like what Vegeta does with Super Saiyan 2 instead of learning 3. It was certainly much more potent and easy to handle than that Super Saiyan rage power that he'd gotten throughout the whole Goku Black affair. In the midst of all this training though, Trunks still had his irrational hatred for Zeno he was trying to keep under wraps, and even though he was going along with this madman's idea of a fun tournament, he could never forgive this little twerp for being so merciless, erasing everything he had known. Granted, in the fullness of time, he understood it was effective in ridding that reality of infinite Zamasu, but surely just cleansing the planet would have been enough. That was the source of infinite Zamasu. If you cut Zamasu off from the source, then it would, go away and evaporate from the rest of the universe. It just didn't make any sense. He did everything in his power to keep his cool, but he would be very frank with his father. He felt that he should be. If I get anywhere near him, I don't know what I'll do. Vegeta smirked, respecting his son's newfound aggressive streak. He was actually getting more assertive with age. As much as I share your sentiments about that imp, you won't need to know what to do, because you'll be erased before you get the chance to do anything. Just get this contest over with and then I don't care what you do. Whatever you want to do, do it. He turns away, trying to not seem too sappy right now. But Trunks gets it, and fully sees what his father was trying to do. He was trying to help. The training is complete, but the night before the contest is due to start, Goku is jumped by the mercenaries of Universe 9, and the Saiyan this time around, with no Frieza, is all alone, wishing he had acted out that idea of bringing back the former Emperor for the contest. His golden power was really good. It would have been very useful. As Goku is doing his best to take out the hundreds of minions on his own, trying to be very careful, Vegeta and Trunks can sense that Goku is struggling with something. They go and rush over to the scene to find Goku heavily breathing, but he has been able to take out the last of the mercenaries hitting the water. But there is one leader left, that Dogmook, who we sadly didn't get a name for, with the ball containing Sidra's Hakai energy. Vegeta scoffs and laments not making it in time to have some practice before the main event. Goku tells the two of them to be careful with this. Don't let that purple energy touch him. I know what that energy is, Kakarot! Don't talk to me like a simpleton! But as soon as Vegeta's breath had finished, Goku had been struck with it. The energy connects, and his two teammates are left horrified at their friend, screaming in agony. Vegeta blasts the assailant in the chest, sort of like what Frieza would do. I mean, it's reactionary. Kakarot! Don't let that energy consume you! We didn't train you up to fall now! Focus! Trunks is left stunned. Is this more of that energy that Zeno provided or something? It was hideous, so evil and destructive. The memories of Zeno erasing his reality flooded to the surface again, just when he thought he suppressed them, and he joins in his father encouraging Goku to fight it. Sadly though, he's powerless to do so, and he has no time to power up to Blue to have a sporting chance. I mean, if you're in the middle of really blood-curdling agony, you're gonna struggle to focus on anything else. That is until Beerus and Whis show up. Seriously, Goku? This is bothering you? What did we train you for? Beerus just flicks the energy off of him, and he goes spiraling off into the sky and explodes in space. lighting up the night sky. Goku falls to the ground below, and Trunks goes to tend to him. Whis then spots the communication orb that the mercenaries had and picks it up, thinking if there might be someone on the line. "Hello? May I speak to whoever's on the other end? It's frightfully important, don't you know?" Ro and Sidra are panicking. "Whis? He found out?" Oh, they be in for it now. They try to remain silent, but the quivering sound of Ro's voice is enough to intrigue Whis even more. Beerus notices it and snatches the orb from his attendant and barks into the receiver for anyone on the other side to fess up. Sidra is heard whispering to Ro. Beerus's ears are very keen. He recognizes that voice at once. "Sidra! I should have known you'd do something so cowardly. What? Did Ro put you up to this?" Sidra is getting even more flustered now. He's a bit of a wimp, and begs Beerus to not tell the Omni King about this. He's sorry about this, but Beerus has no intention to be sparing with these clowns. He had despised these two, especially Ro, for a very long time. Besides, he could lord over these two, since their mortal level was below theirs, Universe 7's. He was the only realm that he could do this to right now, until his own goons could get their act together and improve their mortal level, and Shin, pulled his weight. "Whis, do kindly inform your padre about this misdemeanor. I'm sure he'll be quite keen to hear about this little farce." Whis nods and takes the communication orb and teleports himself to the GP's place. As he does that, Beerus picks Goku up and tosses him to Vegeta. "I think Goku will need one of those beans that you have. He's not going to get out of this tournament that easily." Vegeta laughs while Kakarot's unconscious and appreciates the sight of him looking weak in front of Beerus. Meanwhile, Trunks asks Beerus a question. "Lord Beerus, what's going to happen to those people who try to kill Goku?" Beerus casually explains that, they'll most likely be erased, since they were breaking the rules after all, and codes of conduct. You just don't do that with that thing. Trunks is spitting fire. "Zeno will probably enjoy doing that." Beerus walks up to Trunks now, getting almost as close as he did when he almost destroyed him earlier. "If I hear one more word about him and you trying to destroy him, boy, I will do unto you what will befall those morons. Understood?" Trunks gulps and nods quickly. He can't be so careless now that he knew that he was expecting a kid. With Goku now recovered thanks to a sensu bean, the team is ready to set out for the tournament. When they indeed get to the world of Void, the team spot loads of different beings and creatures from different universes. It was quite a sight to behold for Trunks despite his recent antics with dark demons and time patrols. However, something wasn't quite right. Universe 7 was one of the last teams to arrive, and the boy could only see as many universes as indeed theirs. 7. There was supposed to be 8. Where's the other one? Before he could ask anyone though, the GP speaks up and introduces himself, welcoming everyone to the tournament. "Thank you all for gathering at such short notice, everyone. As many of you might notice, there are only 7 universes present. It has recently come to my attention that Universe 9 had conducted illegal operations prior to this event, and as such have been dealt with sufficiently. They have been disqualified." Trunks then pipes up and asks what will happen to Universe 9. "It has already been erased, as will those universes whose team members are all removed from the arena." There is muttering all about said stadium, and Trunks is shocked to hear this. Gohan turns to him and notices Trunks looking up at the 2 Zenos and his fist sparking with anger, his hair turning golden already. "Trunks, calm down. Don't do anything rash. Those poor innocent lives. They didn't deserve to be erased. They weren't the ones to order that hit on Goku. Why did they have to be punished for something they didn't do? It's my world all over again." Vegeta then turns around. "Be quiet, boy. I understand this touches nerves, but we have more pressing matters to deal with. Like ensuring that our universe doesn't meet the same fate. Bring your A-game." He turns back to the front, and Trunks remains quiet, stewing in his own personal frustration. As the tournament begins, Trunks decides the best thing to do instead of stewing in his own anger, sitting out the fight, like Jiren is over there, is best to get the contest over with and take out as many people as possible. Sadly, without the likes of the Trio de Danger, the 70-fighter roster is more frenetic than before, with fewer targets to be had. However, Trunks has picked his target, and the likes of Universe 10 for him are easy pickings, with him taking out half of them within the space of a minute. They had basically been picked on the grounds that they had muscles and they looked strong. But this isn't your typical dumbbell anime. They had nothing else to back it up. Napapa being the biggest casualty of all from Trunks' almost blank onslaught. The Zenos then pick up on this and they ask the GP who that person is. That one? Ah, that is Trunks from Universe 7, although I believe he originally existed in another reality. Your reality, in fact, sire? He's nodding to the future Zeno. He looks blankly back at the GP.
I don't remember him.
I believe that he was one of the friends of Goku's who tried to save that realm from the apprentice of Goasu of Universe 10.
Can you stop talking? I'm trying to watch the fighting.
He then turns back to the action, getting caught up in the spectacle. Ouch, ouch. The contest continues, and with Trunks ever more determined to finish this off as fast as possible, he quickly polishes off Prum and Hamida of Universe 2 with Ten Shinhan, a little nod to their fight from movie 9 there, as well as polishing off the likes of Frost, who was trying to pounce on Krillin. Vegeta saw all of this go down as well from a distance, and is proud of his son for being just as ruthless with that Frieza clone as he was in the earlier Universe 6 tussle. However, Trunks wasn't getting any enjoyment from this at all. He was getting increasingly impatient. He hadn't resorted to his red powers yet, and he had plenty of power left over. This was just, sport. He was really wanting to speed up the competition, but then Android 17 spots him and asks him what's up. You're acting like a mad dog, kid. What gives? It was still weird to hear assuring words from a person who looked like one of his old enemies from the future, but he did appreciate the call out. I just cannot bear to be entertaining those two up there. He points to the Zenos. Don't sweat it. This is what, like half an hour of your day? Just keep polishing up those other fighters and you'll be golden. We'll win for sure. Wow, 17 was just so chill. Yeah, the future 17 was kinda chill too, but it was also cruelly chill. He decided to take it down a notch a bit for the time being and pace himself. However, he had done a lot of damage. He didn't have much of a chance to relax. As his takedown number had been increasing quite quickly, he had garnered the attention of one of the Pride Troopers of Universe 11, Dispo. He had been very impressed with the rapid progress of this guy, and was now very keen to put this guy down to the test. This speed demon was ready to go. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? Do you feel Trunks will be able to get more takedowns in the tournament? Or will this be the end of the line for him at the hands of Dispo? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!